Lovers, I wanted to make this video about your tortoise in the winter, how he's going to act, what it's going to be like for your tortoise, and what to expect. Especially if you're a first time owner of a tortoise and you just don't know how your tortoise acts in the winter because you never had him in the winter. Let me start off by saying I've had a question by one of my subscribers on their tortoise. She said that her tortoise is not eating and she's worried. Well, my answer to you and to whoever is watching this and has the same question about your tortoise in the winter and him not eating or her. Okay, first, your tortoise is going to do two things in the winter. My guy, he's somewhere over here burrowed, and I'll get to that in a minute why he's burrowed. See him? See his little shell? Okay, at the beginning of maybe the ending of summer, beginning of winter, your tortoise, he's going to eat a lot, especially towards the end of summer, maybe early winter. He'll eat a lot of food. The reason for that is because he wants to hibernate. And when they hibernate, they eat a lot of food. So over winter, they're burrowed and they don't have to come out, and they have all that food stored inside of them. I made a video on why I think that's bad. I won't get into it too much, but I think it's bad because they're not eating, they're not drinking, they're basically being dehydrated. And once they wake up out of hibernation, they poop and they pee everywhere, and it's nasty. Your tortoise could get sick. That's why I don't allow my tortoise to hibernate indoors, and I suggest you guys don't do it either. And if it's already winter time and it's really cold, look, I'll let you know this. Check this out. See how dirty my enclosure looks right now? It's because my little guy, Aoki, my tortoise, he's restless in the winter. He's scratching, he's digging, he wants to burrow deep. Tortoises out in the wild, they make burrows that are like a foot to 2 feet deep, and they just burrow and they hibernate. I'm not letting him hibernate, so he's restless, he's scratching. So you could expect that in the winter. Another thing you should expect is your tortoise really won't eat that much when it's winter time because it's not hot enough for them to digest their food. And they're in a way they're kind of like they just want to hibernate, so they don't want nothing no more to eat. Every winter, I've had my tortoise going on 6 years, and every time winter comes, he hardly eats. Some days he don't even go without eating. He'll go a day, maybe even 2 days without eating. I'll put the food out there for them, for my guy, my little buddy. I suggest you do too. Put your food out there just a little bit, not too much. And because remember, it's winter, so it's harder for them to digest their food. So just put a little bit of food out, chop it up really fine and small so they can eat it. And maybe he'll take a few bites and they'll have something in their tummy. But you got to remember, tortoises, especially Russian tortoises, they come from dry woodland areas. You can find them in Afghanistan, Asia, the woodlands. And not all the time do they stumble across food. So don't feel, a little stressed out about this. You just ease your mind because tortoises don't come across food or water for sometimes days, 3 days, even a week out in the wild. And I'm pretty sure if you got your guy in an enclosure, he's getting fed well. You're giving him water and he's healthy. So people that are worried about the winter, don't feel stressed out if your tortoise isn't eating. Now, if he goes a week without eating, then you should feel worried. But you should check the red flags. Red flags for a sick tortoise. Because one time I had a tortoise I got from Pet Mart, and I had to return him because he wasn't eating, he wasn't coming out of his shell, he wasn't alert. So what you want to do to check if your tortoise is okay, put your hand, I don't like to do this, but put your hand in front of your tortoise. You see how his head went in there? He's alert. He sees my hand. You pick your tortoise up. You see how he came all the way out? Tortoises that are sick won't come out their shell. They're like lifeless. See how he's moving? Like he's swimming? And check their shell. Check the edges of their shell. If you see any red spots or deformity on the edges of the shell where my thumb's at right there, all along the shell, if you see anything that's deformed or red or discolored, your tortoise is sick. Also look at the eyes. You see how this guy's eyes are nice and dark and shiny? Now if your tortoises have webs over their eyes, kind of like if he got a spider web stuck on his eye, that's really bad. Or if he has little bubbles coming out of his mouth, that's even worse. That means your tortoise is dehydrated or he has parasites and he's full of them. So those are the red flags you should look for. And if you see none of those, your tortoise is active. He's alert. He don't have none of these deformities of his shell. He has no foaming of the mouth. or no webbed eyes, your tortoise is healthy. He's good to go. He's not full of parasites. He's 100% good. The reason why your tortoise isn't eating is because it's winter. You know, in the winter, just like bears, just like other creatures, you know, they store up food and they go hibernate. Since your tortoise is indoors and he's not outside in the wild, and you're basically controlling the elements for him, you know, he's kind of confused, so he's not going to be eating a lot. And he'll eat here and there, maybe skip a few days he won't eat. What you could do, though, once you guys get your tortoise back on track and he's eating consistently every day, you could skip a day, maybe 2 days without feeding him, so he can miss his food. So when you do feed him, he's going to go just devour it, and he's going to just tear it up, you know, he's going to eat it and love it. That's what I do with my little guy. Sometimes when he's not eating, all right, I won't feed him. The next day, I'll go put some food in there. He'll go eat it because he's hungry. And remember to get your tortoise, when you're feeding him, put him in front of his dish, for he can see the food there and he'll eat it. Now, like I said, if your tortoise goes more than 3 days without eating, then you should be worried. You should be really worried. But if he's not eating and you're afraid he's going to get dehydrated, make sure you put him in water. Get a little dish, a little tiny dish, fill it mid-shell, midway to his shell, with lukewarm water, not cold, and set him in there for he could drink. So if he's not eating, at least you know your tortoise is getting water and he's getting his fill of water. He's getting hydrated. He's not dehydrated. And he won't get sick. So if he's not eating, make sure he's getting water. Put him in a little dish, and for he can't get out of it, you know, and he could drink and he'll be good. And now, for about your lighting, if you have a tortoise that's, you know, I suggest that you put your tortoise in a tabletop enclosure, an open aired, you know, because the glass enclosures get really, really hot. And when they get really, really hot, you get poor circulation in the glass enclosure, not enough airflow. So that's another reason your tortoise might not be eating, because he's feeling like, you know, hyperventilated, because he's confined in a small space and there's no airflow. You could buy a little tiny fan, those little tiny fans, and you could put it at the corner of his enclosure on low for, you know, air could start flowing through the enclosure. Not high, just really low, for he could get some air in there and he won't feel suffocated. Now, the UVB light that I use is a Desert Series 50 T8 fluorescent bulb. Now these are good for tanks, because most of them, they come with this little fixture right here, and you could just basically place this on top of your tank. You just could set it on your tank without any worries, and your tortoise, he'll get light throughout the whole tank. So I'd get this. I think this is the #1 pick. A lot of people like to put their UVBs in this, but you got to remember, this mimics the sun. This isn't for basking. If you're gonna put the UVB in here. Now this one right here, this is just a good old UV light for your tortoise to bask. But if you want your tortoise to get a good UVB spectrum light, don't get this, because this will only shine down in one area. Get something like this that's gonna cover your whole tank or your whole enclosure, and he'll get light everywhere he goes. And this is the healthy light. And you could get these at any of your reptile shops. This one right here costs like, I'm gonna say about $25, but with you could get a deal too if you get it with the fixture. You get both of them together, and they'll last about a year, and you don't have to change them out. But look it's an example. He's digging. You see that? This guy would do this all summer. I mean, all winter long. He'll do this. Now, what you can do, you can fill your enclosure with some type of bedding. I use cocoa fiber. You can just fill it to the top almost with cocoa fiber, for your tortoise could dig and burrow and feel comfortable and warm. What I do, I just have one spot, this little hide right here. I got it packed with his substrate in there. He goes in there, he burrows as deep as he wants. But this guy likes his hay. He'll go to his hay, and no matter how much I pack his hay in there, he'll dig underneath it and keep digging and digging. That's one thing you're gonna have to get used to if you have a tortoise. It is the winter, they get real restless. They get restless. They want to dig everywhere. They don't eat as much. So if you guys have questions, please, feel free to ask them in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll be uploading videos as soon as I can. So I hope this video helped. And for you tortoise lovers out there, don't feel stressed. You know, it's winter. Remember, winter and summer are 2 different seasons. And you're playing God for your tortoise. You got to control his lights. Now, if you live in California, you shouldn't be getting really, really cold winters. You shouldn't be getting real cold winters. But if you live in Northern California or another state like Ohio, Wyoming, where it's really, really cold and it snows, then I mean, you should get yourself a heat mat that goes underneath your enclosure, because that could be why your tortoise is really, really cold. Or you should upgrade your heat bulb. Mine's is 100 watt. You should get, they got 150, or you could throw two of them in there if it's snowing where you live and it gets really, really cold in your house. But other than that, if you're from Southern California, you should be okay. I hope this video helped.